Well, we are excited. I'm excited. How about you?
Yep, definitely.
As many of y'all know, the outboard on our dinghy died while we were over in the Bahamas. And so you may have noticed you haven't been seeing a lot of videos from us at various locations since we came back from the Bahamas. We're currently in Cocoa. And it's because we didn't have a dinghy. We were stuck on our boat, couldn't go anywhere, couldn't do anything. And so there you go.
Except for when you were rowing and it was really bad rough weather.
Yeah. As Marie always likes to say, our dinghy is what?
Our car.
Yep. So, I mean,
It's our car.
just imagine being stuck without a car for a while. That's how we've been. So.
Or a bicycle.
Yeah. So anyway, a benefactor heard about our plight and did
donated a dinghy to us.
They are donating a brand new dinghy to us. Hi, I'm Ron.
And I'm Marie.
10 years ago, we bought a broken down trawler for $4,000.
And nothing worked, not even the kitchen sink.
After a lot of hard work and help from our friends and family, we moved aboard Elixir full time. And now we are cruising this old boat while the work and fun continues.
So subscribe and give us a like and come along with us cruising this old boat.
Not only, because I mean technically there's nothing wrong with our dinghy, it was just the outboard that had died. And but the benefactor said, if you had the dinghy you want, what would you want? And
okay.
so anyway, instead of just putting a new outboard on our current dinghy, we got a whole new brand new one, and this one is just far superior to what we had. We're waiting right now at the boat ramp for the dinghy to come, and we'll show y'all all the upgrades and why we wanted these things in a dinghy. And but right now we're just sitting here waiting. We're just too excited. So
we came early.
Yeah, we're early, just sitting there waiting for our dinghy to arrive. So anyway, how cool is that? And just to the person that gave us the dinghy, and we're gonna say it more than once, but thank you. And
we will get a lot of use out of it.
yeah, you can say that again.
Mm-hmm.
Say that again.
We will get a lot of use out of it.
So anyway, it should be here soon, and we'll show it to y'all when it arrives. We brought everything we need to put in the dinghy with us. We have our 2 life vests, and since it's got an enclosed fuel tank compartment, we brought a fire extinguisher. And of course we'll need a way to tie it up. So we are prepared.
We hope.
We hope. Just waiting for it to arrive. And here it comes. That's our dinghy. So this is Gator from Lifeline Marine Safety Services. And this is the second dinghy we've gotten from him, because you can't beat the prices and you certainly can't beat the service, both before and after the sale. So if you need a dinghy, come talk to this guy in well, I say Cocoa, but what do you actually?
Cape Canaveral, yeah.
In Cape Canaveral, Florida.
Yeah.
Lifeline Marine Safety Services. And I get nothing for this plug. He's just a good guy.
Thank you very much. Letters look great. Have all your paperwork. It's already done. So the boat's, it's turkey. It's ready to go. Gassed up. Fuel tank line run underneath. Motor's been run. Batteries in it. Everything's together.
All right, so we got our new dinghy. It's in the water. We are out checking it out. And once again, to our benefactor, thank you from the bottom of our heart. This was more than we could ever ask for. Thank you very much. All right, we've broke the engine in. We've got everything working great on the new dinghy. And so now we'd like to take a moment and walk you through and show you what features about this dinghy made us choose it over our old one. The old dinghy had a very deep V-hull because it didn't have the second floor in it and had no step in the bow. And it was very difficult to get in and out of, especially for Marie. I have longer legs, so I could step down in there. But Marie had a lot of trouble getting in and out of the dinghy because it was such a big step for her. And now Marie can easily walk in using either the first step or directly to the second step. We also have a retractable cleat, if that's the right word to use. We had no cleats at all on our last dinghy, so this one does have a cleat if we need to use that. And when we're not using it, it just lays out of the way, which is really nice. Another improvement on our new dinghy is that we have a bow locker. On the last dinghy, the fuel tank was just sat in the back on the deck, and it would slide around, get kicked around. It was always in the way. But now we keep our fuel tank in the bow locker, strapped down, stored out of the way. And if you want to put a few extra lines or something like that in there, there is a little more room. Also, the last dinghy had a 3-gallon fuel tank. This one has a 6-gallon fuel tank, so it almost doubles our distance that we can travel. Another important upgrade is the deck. On our previous dinghy, the deck was the hull. The hull was the deck was the hull, and so it was V-shaped. And no matter where you stood, you were standing on a slant. And that not only made it difficult for standing, but it made it very difficult for getting in and out. This one has a double deck, so the hull is not the deck. They're two separate things. Not only does that give us a flat surface to stand on, but even more importantly, or just as importantly, the water runs underneath the deck. So if any water splashes in, it immediately finds a hole that goes up underneath the deck and disappears. And that's really good. I remember one time in our last trip to Key West, we went to Provision and bought a bunch of groceries, put them in the dinghy, and it wasn't supposed to rain, so we were happy with everything. You know, just put the bags in the dinghy, and on our way back, a boat waked us. And although I always try to turn the dinghy to keep the wake from coming into the dinghy, two different splashes came in, and just that splash from the boat waking us totally drenched all our groceries. So anything that was in a box was ruined, anything that wasn't sealed was ruined, and so we lost a lot of money in groceries just because we got waked by a boat going by. So, you know, because once the water comes in that old dinghy, it had nowhere to go. It just sat there. And so, you know, your groceries get wet. So with this, we've got the double deck, and we've already tested, tried it out. When water splashes in, it just runs away and drains down into the bilge, and don't have to deal with it. So that is fantastic. Along with that, this one has a bilge pump. The old one didn't. So when water does get in here, it's continuously being pumped out, not only when we're using the dinghy, but when it's stored in the chocks up on the davit. So if it rains, it gets pumped out. Next, we have this really awesome console. They call this the Euro console, and it takes up very little space in the dinghy because it just kind of hangs out in space, but it gives you a steering wheel, it gives you a console to drive behind. Additionally, not only do we have the comfort of steering it versus using a tiller, but this particular console has built-in navigation lights. So anytime we go somewhere, we've got our navigation lights with us. We don't have to remember to bring that little flashlight, and Marie doesn't have to sit there and hold that little flashlight because our old dinghy had no navigation lights at all. So this one, you just push a button, and there you go, you got lights turned on. Going along with the navigation lights, it also has the stern light stored right here behind the seat, and you just plug it into this socket right here and push the button on the helm, and there you go. You've got an anchor light. So again, we don't have to worry about, do we have it with us? We don't have to worry about holding it. Everything's right there. On the old dinghy, it was a tiller style outboard, so I had to sit on the side of the tube and reach out to the tiller. Now that caused two problems if you went any distance whatsoever. One, I'm always looking forward, so my neck was craned, and after a while I get a crick in my neck. It just started hurting. And two, I've got my arm out manipulating the tiller, and so after a while my shoulder would just start to hurt. Our new dinghy has a bench seat, which is fantastic. With this, I just sit back, hold the steering wheel, and just enjoy the day. And for both of us, in the old dinghy, because we were sitting on the tube, we were constantly getting wet. We couldn't go anywhere that our clothes were soaked by the time we came back. We've already discovered in this dinghy, sitting on the bench seat like we are right now, we hit wakes from other boats, we hit waves, and we stay pretty dry, don't we?
Pretty much, yep.
Yep, very nice.
And both of us get to sit next to each other, facing forward, and get to see what's going on.
Underneath the bench seat is storage, which is always important. So everything on our old dinghy was loose, just laying around pretty much. We did have a little bit of, we had a bag that hung from the center bench seat, so you could keep some stuff in there, but not a whole lot. With this, you just lift the seat up and you've got a huge storage area. Additionally, you've got this little bitty cubby hole on the front of the storage box, which gives you fast access to things like your cell phone. Another function that we really like is that it turns on with a key. So with the old dinghy, we always had to pull start it, and it was difficult for both of us because we both have shoulder problems, but particularly for Marie, it was really hard for her to pull start it. Here, no more pulling, no more straining, no more wear and tear on our shoulders. You just turn the key. As a safety backup feature, the outboard does have a pull start, so you can start it by pulling it, but we don't have to. So I haven't tried it yet. I don't know how easy or hard it is to start it by pulling it, but as long as that key works, I'm not interested in finding out. The new dinghy also has power tilt, so all I have to do is push a button and I can raise or lower the outboard. We discovered that was important when we were in the Bahamas because we'd come up to a lot of beaches and it would get shallow pretty quick, but the wind would be blowing, so you have to give it a good run to make sure you're going to make it all the way to the beach, and then kill the engine, turn around real quick, lift the engine up by hand, and of course it wants to flop over when you do that, and you're moving around is turning the dinghy, and next thing you know, you've got no power and you're not at the beach. So here I can keep my eye on the beach, everybody can sit still, and with the push of a button I can raise and lower the outboard. As we get closer and closer to the shore, I can actually raise it a little bit at a time until the last minute, and then just pull it out of the water with the button. As an added feature, if we're already in the water, let's say we go to the beach, we're hanging out and having fun, and the tide goes out, and our outboard is starting to hit the bottom, then like if we're anchored out, then we can tilt the outboard without even getting in the dinghy. So there's another button right there on the outboard itself. This outboard also comes with a foil, so we can trim the outboard while we're moving for optimum performance. If we were in the water, and a lot of times you anchor the dinghy, and then so you have to get in and out of it even though it's in the water, it was difficult. So we got a boarding ladder, and this isn't one of those just cheapy rope things that you step on it, it goes up underneath your dinghy. This is well-designed ladder that's designed with a curve on it to keep it from going up underneath the dinghy, so you can actually use it as a boarding ladder and it will work. And to make it easier to store it, it collapses in two, so it doesn't take up as much space on the dinghy. And of course, all the tubes are Hypalon for long-lasting service. So that's our new dinghy, and all the reasons why we chose this particular dinghy. And I love it. I love it so far, so much. What do you think?
Oh, definitely. Most definitely. It's going to be a world of difference for us. We'll use it a lot more.
Yes, definitely going to use this all. We already have been using it more.
That's true.
We're quite a ways from our boat right now as we film this. So, I mean, we're just having a great time in this dinghy, and just want to say once again, thank you so much to our benefactor for buying this dinghy for us. There's absolutely no way we could have afforded it on our own, and
we really needed it.
Yeah, we needed something. So it's just great that we got what we wanted instead of having to make do with what we could afford. So thank you again very, very, very much.